Hi, this video is for TikTok and YouTube. My name is Cassie from Cassie's Designs. I have a website, www.kassysdesigns.com, where I sell homemade jewelry and accessories. I'm trying a new camera angle because I can get it without making a mess. This thing makes it very difficult sometimes. So hopefully you can understand. So today, if you want to stick around, I can show you how to make this macrame keychain. I just made these. These two are duplicates and this one was my first one, and I was really proud of it. This video is going to be a little bit longer. It's going to be in real time, so it's okay if you don't want to stay. You can scroll. I'm not worried. So let's go ahead and start. So you want to start with 2 pieces of tape, and preferably fresh painter's tape that hasn't been used yet. So first you pick a swivel keychain. I'm using this one, but you can use a different one. It's important that it swivels, otherwise if it doesn't swivel you can still use it. Okay, so, and I'm using this orange macrame cord, and it's not like you can measure it, but basically once you get to a long length like this, you should have enough to do the keychain. So, and then you would duplicate it. And by duplicating it, you would just kind of meet the strings together. And make sure you have a nice scissors because it's actually kind of hard to cut. Okay. And then this is a little tricky, but you want about 7 to 8 inches to be on one side, and then you want the other side to be nice and long. So this is 11 inches, so I'm going to start, I'm going to do like that. That's long enough. And then what you do is you leave that there, just like it is. And so you see how you have all this extra room? You need that. You need 3 times the amount of length that you have in the middle. And then you take your other one and then you duplicate it, and then you want to literally do the exact same thing, like that. And then you put it on here, just like this. So you pinch it, grab it, and then you put your fingers through, pinch both pieces, and pull them out, like that. And then try to make it so, like, you see there's a side like this and a side like that. Make sure they're even. So that's really important. Otherwise it looks a little funny. So pinch it like that. And then you put it through. And you don't need to glue it or anything. Here you go. Pull. Make sure you pull both sides. There you go. See? And then like that. And then you tighten it. And do you see how they're both like that? This is the side that you want to work with. And this is what it looks like. So then you take a nice chunkier tape. Even masking tape would work. Okay? And then you Sorry, I'm just new to this camera angle. Okay, there we go. Now, we are going to straighten it out and it's okay if I did it like this. I can still work with it. So we're going to put the two smaller pieces on them in the middle. And then take another piece of painter's tape or tape in general and then tape it down. The easy part is the square knot, and you're only doing the left square knot. So you start by putting your left piece on top of your middle pieces, and then you have to make sure that the left piece is on the bottom, and then you take your, see right here, you take your right piece and then you put it on top of here, and then you squeeze it in the middle like that, and then you pull it tight. So you just keep on doing that. It's called square knot. You want it to be nice and close up. We're going to do this until a certain length for my duplicating purposes, to up to there. Or whenever you make yours, you can make it to any length. So you can do this with macramé cord, t-shirt, yarn, embroidery thread, yarn in general. It's a little fuzzy, but it still works out. You see how it's kind of, do you see how it's kind of curving like that? And this, and when you make a macrame keychain, it's really important to have a comb and a scissors and a tweezers if you want to do a certain loop on the bottom so it doesn't come apart. Now I have to switch this around because it's turning a little bit too much. So we're just going to continue. My sister, Christy Phoenix, she has a nonprofit website where she crochets things for people in free stores and homeless places in the river and things like that. And it's PHOENIXAD.org. And I donate stuff as well, things that I make, and I also donate to her website and jewelry and accessories and whatnot. So if you ever want to check that out, you can. It's pretty cool, and we also go to craft fairs. If you are still here, that's pretty cool. I really appreciate it. I don't do a lot of long videos. I don't know. I'm not good at editing, so really not good at it at all. So, in fact, I've never tried. I use Canva. Now we're about halfway there. A little bit about me, if you're interested, is I have functional neurological disorder and autism, which means I have a seizure disorder based on the trauma of the soul. And I have minor seizures, sometimes on camera, sometimes in real life. And they're just shaky moments, or maybe like a statuesque moment, or I just fall asleep for a couple of seconds. So if it happens on camera, that's what's happening. I'm going to use this as my duplicate to compare. So as you can see, I have about that much room. It's important as myself as a business owner to make as many duplicates as I can. But it's hard sometimes, especially when it comes to beads. I can only make 2 or 3 of the same thing. I'm going to switch my string over again. We're just going to keep on going. Like I said, this is the easy part. I'm going to do 2 more. 1. If you do left, right like this, you're going to get a straight line. Okay, now what I do is I open up my tape and I put my other piece in like that. This is the tricky part. So you're going to use this to spiral. So you're going to put your left or your right one over this, and then you're going to hold this in place like that. And then I do it twice because this is really tricky, so I don't want to do it too many times. You do this and you give yourself a little space. And then you take the end and you use this tweezer to fish it out. So you put the tweezer inside the hole. You grab, and then, see what I did? I grabbed it and I pulled it through, and now you have to even it out somehow. This is the tricky part, like I said. And actually, I can cut this now because I don't need all that. I need to be able to see it. So do you see how I did that? Now I have to be able to make it even. And the way to make it even is to make sure both of them are even. And push them up. And you take that one and then you pull. And you can leave it like this, or I'm going to make it again a little bit shorter. Or what you can do is unravel this. Okay, so now that I don't need the table, I'll show you how to do this if you're interested. So do you see how you have 4 strands of macrame cord? Okay, what you do is you start by twisting in the opposite direction that your macrame cord is going in, and you kind of want to hold it in place, and you see you have strands in there. So what you do is you separate them like that, and then you repeat it for each one. So go in the opposite direction that your macrame cord is going in. Try to suspend it in place. And then hold on to it. You can drop it. Very easy to do that. And then you just untwist it I'm going to do it with the same thing, like this. See, there's 3 cords again, 3 strands. And then that's untangled, and 1 more. One, 2, 3. Now you kind of have a mess, which is fine. Do what you can to get them all untangled. And then you take a brush, a comb, and then that's my hair. It's a real actual comb. And then I cut it even, but you can cut it mermaid style if you want to, which is inverted triangles. And then what I would do, I wouldn't call this finished, but I would take a drop of resin and I would bond it right there. And that is how you make a simple macrame keychain. Thank you for staying. If you did, I really appreciate it. If you didn't, it's okay. And have a good day.